We've been waiting for this moment. I've been waiting for this moment because y'all know, fresh off the back of the godlike, record-breaking in every single facet success of Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba Mugen Train, the movie, a lot of people are immediately like, oh, well, what's about to go down with this Jujutsu Kaisen film? Because in case you don't know, Jujutsu Kaisen was the #1 highest-selling manga of 2021, selling or pushing into circulation over 30 million copies of its manga, which, in case you don't know, that is astronomical. One Piece in its heyday back in 2011 wasn't doing that type of stuff, okay? Like, this is really, really a big deal, and a lot of people are like, okay, now that Demon Slayer ended, Jujutsu Kaisen is next up, and if it's having that type of success, more than likely its movie is going to be very successful as well. So, myself included, with everyone else, we've been anticipating to see, okay, so what did Jujutsu Kaisen 0 do? What is it doing sales-wise in the box office over there in Japan? So we can get a gauge of how successful it's going to be in comparison to its predecessor of monstrosity known as Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba Mugen Train. Well, here it is. Jujutsu Kaisen 0 film earns Japan's #2 all-time 3-day opening weekend box office. The Jujutsu Kaisen 0 anime film sold 1,908,053 tickets for 2,694,128,150 yen, which is about $23.5 million, in 418 theaters during its first 3 days after opening on Friday. Distributor Toho said it was the #1 start for a film in Japan this fiscal year, which started in April. Kyodo reports that it is the second highest 3-day opening box office ever, below last year's Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba the movie Mugen Train, which, just really quickly, so this one did 23.5 million in its opening weekend. If I'm not mistaken, Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba's Mugen Train film did 44 million in its opening weekend. So let's put things into perspective. While this is #2 and it's excellent and it's huge, Demon Slayer still yeah, like damn near what, like over 20 million more than this one, which, don't get me wrong, I'm way more of a bigger Jujutsu Kaisen fan than I am a Demon Slayer fan, but you gotta give it up where it's due. And at the end of the day, Demon Slayer did something that, even though Jujutsu Kaisen is immensely popular right now, it didn't quite catch even kind of close to what Demon Slayer did. Like, if it would have done, 38 million or 40 million, I would have been like, oh shit, right? Nipping at its heels. But there's a big difference there. But I guess there's also certain circumstances, the fact that everybody was locked in the house for an astronomical amount of time and they had an opportunity to go watch Mugen Train, so everybody ran out of their houses and watched it as like families and stuff. So you got to take into account what was going on in the world at that time compared to now. Toho reported the following numbers for the Jujutsu Kaisen 0 film's first 3 days. On December 24th, Christmas Eve, it did 772,224 tickets for 1,072,252,950 yen, and we're not reading all those numbers. We'll just say it was basically $9.3 million. Then on December 25th, on Christmas, it did 626,000 tickets for a total of about $7.79 million. And then finally, on December 26th, it did 509,000 tickets for about $6.38 million. Toho also reported that 79.9% of respondents in audience satisfaction surveys said that the film was quote-unquote very good, and another 18.1% said it was good, for a combined 98% positive rating. And projections right now say it's on its way to over 10 billion yen for its entire run, which would be about $87 million. About 15,000 people watched the film at the earliest public screenings in 58 screens at midnight on Friday. Toho initially planned to screen the film at midnight on only 28 screens in 14 theaters at Kyoto and Miyagi, plus Tokyo, Osaka, Aichi, Fukuoka, and Hokkaido. However, tickets sold out on the first day of sales, so theaters eventually expanded the numbers of screens. And yeah, it's freaking insane how successful this was. Again, there's a big difference between this and Mugen Train. Mugen Train is, Demon Slayer itself is an anomaly. Like, I haven't really talked about what the anime's ratings have been doing lately. Let's just say that it's putting everything else to shame. Like, even Detective Conan, One Piece, Yashahime Princess Half Demon, which does so freaking well, and I don't understand why, because I haven't heard great things, especially about the second season. Yeah, this Demon Slayer Mugen Train TV anime does way more. Like, One Piece be doing, like, let's just say 3.7, things like that. Demon Slayer is doing 8.5. Like, very, very big difference. So there's a big difference between Jujutsu Kaisen and Demon Slayer in terms of success, but this is still astronomical. And I feel like I should stop talking about Demon Slayer when it comes to this, just because I'm raining on the parade of this is still major and huge. Like, these numbers aren't anything to be scoffed at, like, oh. And I wouldn't be surprised when Jujutsu Kaisen 0 comes over here, we add a lot more to it as well. Like, I would love for this to do 100 million. I ain't gonna lie. Let's get to 100 million. We're at 87 million. Let's do 100 plus. At the end of the day, it's Jujutsu Kaisen. Gege Akutami deserves it, and that still will put it at a very high thing, which I ain't gonna lie. 87 million at its total run feels a little short. I mean, that's a projection at the end of the day. It could do less, it could do more, but I feel like this film should definitely do 100 plus. Like, if Demon Slayer, oh god, here I go comparing it. It should do 100 plus, period. Gege Akutami. And I mean, we've seen other films in the past do some decent numbers, so yeah, I think it could do 100. Let's, at the very least, when it comes to the West, let's definitely give our support so that we could get it to that mark worldwide. But yeah, people, Jujutsu Kaisen 0, the movie, opening weekend did $23.5 million, coming in at the highest number 2 of all time, only behind, well, yeah, you know,